Have you ever heard of a vicious, sometimes bipedal monkey-like creature with a bushy tail, the leaping ability of a kangaroo, the strength of a gorilla, and maybe a taste for human flesh? You might wonder, what far off land does this terrifying creature live in? Well, would you believe Virginia? We're about to hear about the devil monkey of the USA.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Weird World Podcast. My name's Carrie.
I'm Dean.
What you got, Dean?
Okay. We have a cryptid corner here for you today. I'm being a little vague here. We'll see. We'll see how this goes.
Okay.
So, but it is going to be about a cryptid. A little known one, too, by the way.
Which you have already described in detail.
I did in a little bit of detail, but wait till you hear about this guy.
Okay.
I've vaguely heard of this, and there's not a lot on it in the lore, the literature.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes back. I mean, if you believe we'll get to it in a minute, the inevitable Native American legends that every cryptid eventually, in anywhere in North America, is eventually tied to.
Yeah.
It goes way, way, way back. But in modern times, this creature that certainly seems and sounds like a more consistent devil monkey goes back to like maybe the 1930s. There was supposedly an encounter in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee.
Oh.
Didn't know there was such a thing. 1934, the source I read said the story was allegedly published in national newspapers. Well, either it was or it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not hard to find. I mean,
I was going to say there's a way to check national newspapers.
yeah, I know. But I'm not going to complain. We don't check a lot of national. I mean, we'll check the New York Times archive and other archives now and again, but we don't have access to LexisNexis.
No, I was going to say, you got to pay for those things.
Yeah, very. So this creature, though, was supposedly kind of, it was very, this first encounter was super vague. It was just sort of this mysterious creature that supposedly leapt across the field, had lightning speed, and was kind of quasi, somewhat monkey-like. Okay, so it goes away. And in Southern Illinois, in March of 1946, is another story. I'm sorry, it was in a March 1946 magazine called Who's Your Folklore, which, by the way, Hoosiers are people from Indiana. This is in Southern Illinois. Not clear how that happened. Huh. But supposedly it took place in the summer of 1941. This guy was out hunting squirrels along Gum Creek near Mount Vernon, Illinois. Yes, people hunted squirrels back then.
I know. People hunt squirrels now.
You know what they do to them back then, at least?
They eat them.
They eat them. Yeah. I don't think they do so much anymore. They do it for sport.
I think they do.
Maybe they do. So his name, by the way, was Reverend Marsh Harpole. And he was, quote, approached by a large animal that looked something like a baboon, unquote. He said it leapt from a tree and just started walking toward him. It doesn't say whether it was walking on all fours or on two legs or not. Other stories we'll hear about do kind of have it both, bipedal and quadrupedal. Yeah. So the Reverend, he had a gun with him, but instead of shooting the animal, he smacked it with the barrel of the gun, and then he fired a few shots in the air, which did indeed scare it away. And that was that. Then you have kind of the most detailed sighting, but it doesn't happen until 1959.
Wow.
When another source calls this the first official devil monkey sighting from this 1959 occurrence. Why is that official? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it happened in Saltville, Virginia, hence the tease. This is a much more dramatic, and as you'll see from the story, it apparently was a multiple sighting. So this woman named Paulette or Pauline Boyd is driving along Southwest Virginia. I guess Roanoke. You know, the Roanoke Island is on East Virginia, of course. Actually, it's actually North Carolina. But there's a city called Roanoke in more West Virginia, which I didn't know. And so she's driving through that area. She's on her way to the Outer Banks in North Carolina, weirdly, unironically. But around somewhere in Southwest Virginia, she's on this lonely road. And it's very dark. It's like 2:30 in the morning. And she sees something. I think she's with some people in the car, like her mom and I think a daughter. We'll see. And she says that, well, it depends. One version has it kind of jumping out and this creature running across the road. Another version has it attacking the car. And when they were able to park the car later on, they saw like 3 big scratch marks in the side of their car. And I think Paulette's daughter, Pauline, and another source says it's her mom. So you see already some a little bit of red flags when you start having these, different identifications. But the daughter/mom of the woman. It says, quote, it had light taffy-colored hair with a white...
Taffy. What color is taffy?
That's a good question. I took it to mean like beige, maybe, or light brown, but I don't know why I think that.
Who the heck knows? Taffy is any color you make it.
That's true. Yeah, she shouldn't say that.
No.
No. Oh, well, are you pissed at Pauline?
Yes.
She could be a little girl, Carrie, but she also could be an old lady. We don't know.
A little girl wouldn't say taffy-colored hair.
Okay, then I think it's her mom then.
Yeah.
So anyway, light taffy-colored hair with a white blaze down its neck. Same thing. Do people really say those words when they're being quoted by someone?
year is this?
A white blaze, 1959.
Yeah.
I take that to mean some kind of a marker, or a spot, or something like that.
Yeah.
So a white blaze down his neck and underbelly. It stood on two large, well-muscled back legs and had shorter front legs or arms. So now we're starting to sound something like, which is familiar. And Boyd said that she heard about a second, later devil monkey encounter that occurred just a few days later. Why? Was she's hearing about that? I'm not completely sure, but she said, quote, several days after this incident, two nurses in the Saltville area were driving home from work early one morning and were attacked by an unknown creature who ripped the convertible top from their car before they escaped. A search party was formed, but the dogs brought in to track the creature refused to follow the trail. It has never been explained, unquote. So I'm not, I don't know. I'm not.
That one certainly should be verifiable.
You think so?
Something ripped off the convertible top, and the police were called.
Yeah, I know. So, are there stories about this? Is there a police report about this? In 1959, I don't know when this is being reported or when this is being collected.
Yeah.
But yes, if it was remotely contemporaneous, that wouldn't be super hard to check if you were a diligent researcher.
Yeah.
Unlike us, we're bringing you the story. We will, that's kind of been my method. We'll look at these sources and try to find reputable, credible sources, and certainly judge the sources. And I think that's important for someone in our position to do, and not just kind of bring them to you, without any kind of rational thought. But we're not doing, we're not calling the police and trying to track down what happened in 1959. So there's another sighting. There's a kind of a rash of sightings in the 1970s. So again, notice these things. They're now over decades. They'll be in the 70s, they'll be in the 90s, they'll be in the 2000s. We'll have different sightings of these. When we talk about the potential causes of this or potential answers for this, keep that in mind of how long-term these supposed sightings are.
Primates live a long time.
Pardon?
Primates live a long time.
Not this long. Not anywhere near that long.
How long do you think chimpanzees live?
About 30, 40 years.
60, buddy.
In captivity,
No.
when they're well taken care of and don't smoke as much as some chimpanzees do in captivity. Come on, Carrie. Well, okay. Well, still.
You want to know my source?
1934, and I'm going to have a story for you, I think, from 2009. So, sorry. And these don't look like chimpanzees, by the way.
I'm just saying.
These have tails.
Because I learned something new.
Did you?
Yeah.
So you're just like trying to show off.
From Jane Goodall.
And chimps live till 60.
Yeah.
I bet that's not anywhere near an average age. That's a long, long record-breaking, smashing, super old chimp. He had a walker.
Nope.
He had dementia. He didn't remember any of the chimps in his troop.
She told the story of a female monkey who, at the time of this interview, which was decades ago, was like 41 or 44 or something like that, and was pregnant. So a 40-something-year-old chimp is still...
That's some sticky eggs. That child has a good chance.
Probably not.
I don't think she should be having the baby, Carrie. I think she should probably get an abortion. A
Well,
chimp abortion.
She didn't.
A chibortion.
She was having the baby.
Okay. Well, that's great. That's a great story. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. So in 1973, Lauren Coleman, who's a very well-known cryptozoologist, he was studying this issue, and he gathered a report of, quote, 3 black bushy-tailed giant monkeys that were supposedly killing livestock in Albany, Kentucky. So we're still in the South. That's a good sign, I think. Quote, I investigated that case in depth. I interviewed the people who were very sincere. In the whole context of devil monkey reports, it seemed extremely sincere. When you say the word sincere twice in 2 sentences, I think we should be worried. You have these reports of hairy monkey-like creatures with tails very different from Bigfoot, and they are. And we'll get into the description in a little more. But in 1979, there was another report from rural Georgia. Quote, it's the ugliest looking thing I've ever seen, said the witness. I didn't find the name of it. It had a tail like a beaver's, but it was bushy. Okay, so not like a beaver's? And it was a girl. It was a daughter. It was like somebody's daughter in the family. I think she was a teen, and she claimed that it had a face like a dog. That's intriguing too. Keep that in mind. And that's basically kind of what it looked like. They describe these things as, in fact, some people even have at first thought from a distance, oh, is that a wild dog? Is that a feral dog? But when they got close, they said, ooh, that's not a dog. That's something scary. It's got a tail. It's walking on either 2 legs and 4. And so essentially it has, think of it as a tail, very often described as a bushy tail. It has, it's pretty big, but the size varies all like 3 feet high to 6 or 7 feet high to 8 feet high, which is ludicrous, but still at least 3 feet high. So a good sized creature.
Yeah.
That it has a snout, kind of a dog-like snout.
Yeah.
It's furry. It might be taffy colored. No one knows what that is. Sometimes it's described as black though too. So it seems to have different colorations. And it can be pretty mean. And if it's true that it's killing sheep or something like that and attacking convertibles, then it can be dangerous too. And has big claws and big teeth.
My assumption is there's more than one.
Yes, you would think.
Yeah.
This is a roaming creature. Well, then again, you were talking up a 60-year-old chimp doing this, Carrie. So I don't know if we ever can trust you.
No, I wasn't. I was just saying that primates can probably live longer than you think. Yeah,
but the primate that most folks think this is not going to live 60 years.
Okay.
So now we have modern sightings too. I talked to you about, we have 1990s, 2000s. This one from 1994 is the one from Ohio. And I kind of messed up the one I told you about, Paulette Boyd. That one was more the creature attacked her car. This is the one I was thinking of where the creature sort of ran out in front. So this was, she was driving, again, also in Virginia. And it was very late in the morning. She saw a creature. They don't get a name, just a woman from Virginia. I'm sorry, one from Ohio, but driving through Virginia. And she saw this creature leap across the road in front of the car. And she just got a good look at it, but it didn't attack her in this case. She said it was a monkey-wolf hybrid is what she described it as. It had short, sleek, black fur, stood up on its hind legs. She said when it stood on its hind legs and stood like a man, it was about 6 feet tall. Had pointy ears, a flat snout, but again, notice it's a snout, and a long, thin tail. Again, other people have described it as a very bushy tail. That's interesting. And she also said it was really muscular and thin. And according, I don't know where this part is from, but supposedly later on in that same area there of Southwest Virginia, supposedly pets and livestock began to go missing. Intriguing. You'll see this happen again in another story. 1996, just a couple years later, it's now spotted in Louisiana.
Of all places.
It said, this description also was said to be very much like the, by now, kind of classic devil monkey description. Supposedly, this story was first told in July of 2009, like one of those, cryptozoology kind of publications. But it happened in 1996. So he's saying something. He waited 13 years to tell the story. This witness, who would not name himself, said he was a biologist and he worked for a major biotechnology firm. So he wanted to withhold his name. And he also wait 13 years to tell people about the story. Sure. 13 years, by the way, when we now have effectively creepypasta-like cryptid kind of websites now that you did not have in 1996 so much. So intriguing with the timing. And also, whenever someone's anonymous and they're putting it on a board, on an online form anonymously, the probability that that person's telling the truth is really near zero. It really is. I don't know that anything honest has ever been posted in that manner ever.
Well,
really? Seriously? Put it this way. The chances are overwhelmingly none of it's true. Yes. So your default position as a reader, as a consumer of information, should be this is not true.
Right.
You should not, unless you have names, unless you have specifics, there's no reason to think it's not true. Someone saw a devil monkey in 1996. I can't say my name. I might lose my position with a biotechnology firm. That just makes no sense. So this guy, this biologist says was he a biologist? He was a biologist. Said that he saw this himself back in Louisiana in July of 1996. He said, he's sitting there and he's gazing out at the rain.
Okay.
Again, that's another, as I've said before, I know I'm harping on it, but when you start reading stories online that read like stories, they're stories. So he says he turned to look and saw something. I honestly don't know what. running extremely fast on all fours from the field towards our property. So he's looking out the window. He sees this thing just running towards their house. He says at first he thought it was kind of a dog maybe, but then it gets closer and he says that's not a dog. And then it leapt over the 5-foot fence in one hop, which a dog could actually do.
Yeah.
But still, that's a decent feat of leaping ability.
Yeah.
Once on my side of the fence, this is quoting him again, this thing stood up on 2 legs, exclamation point, another red flag. It was only 30 feet from me at that point, and I got a really good look at it. It was about 4 feet tall, maybe a little bigger. It had really big yellowish eyes, large pointed ears, a sparse coat of shaggy fur. It stood on its tiptoes, which is interesting, and had a long, somewhat bushy tail, kind of like a squirrel, but not nearly as thickly furred, end quote. So now you have the bushy tail, but otherwise something a little bit similar to what has been described in most of these cases. The snout, he says, was very cat-like, which is interesting because dogs have longer snouts than cats do. And he said once it stood, it kept its arms to its side like a human would stand, but a little bit bent. And his hands, he said, he saw legit-looking fingers that had claws at the end. So that was his encounter. I think he just scared it away. Eventually, it ran away and it leapt away after this encounter. It was like, I don't know, investigating, see if there's something to eat maybe. So then in 1997, we have a report from Duncansville, Ohio, from Debbie Cross, who said she was same thing. She's at night. She hears something outside. She turns on the porch light and she sees this, quote, fur-covered monkey-like creature about 30 feet away, standing at the edge of a pond. I guess a pond somewhere outside of their house. Quote, it was about 3 to 4 feet tall and gray in color. It had large, dark eyes and rounded ears, not pointy ears, extended above the head. It had real long arms and a short tail. Doesn't say if it's bushy or not. Mm-hmm. It made a gurgling sound, unquote. So then she said it just sort of skipped across the lawn on its hind legs, by the way. I don't know if it was literally skipping, but... And she said it apparently balancing itself with the knuckles of his front arms. So that means it's not walking on his hind legs. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. Does it? I mean, there is, again, you listeners probably know the animal I'm thinking of for many of these sightings and many of these descriptions do roughly, kind of, except for some critical ways, fit something, which I'm being coy, but we'll get to in a little bit. You're probably thinking of it right now as well, aren't you?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. That'll be interesting. Okay. So
are you thinking of a real animal?
I am.
Okay.
Yes. The next sighting was in Danville, New Hampshire in 2001. So now it's gone north. If this is if this is a breeding population, it's been seen all throughout the southeast of the United States. Now it's in New Hampshire. That's getting to be a little bit of a geographical stretch, especially if it is a monkey. There are no monkeys north of Mexico in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah, and even in in Europe, the most monkeys, I believe, are in Gibraltar, which is still pretty warm climate. New Hampshire is not that at all. In this case, in Danville, New Hampshire, it was seen by a couple of different people. It was reported to the fire chief. And this one's actually, it was said to be kind of a reddish brown fur. It looked like some kind of monkey or primate. It had very sharp claws, a dog-like muzzle. And it was seen literally running down the streets of Danville early in the morning in September of 2001 in Danville, New Hampshire. In September 2001, in the early morning, it's probably not going to be that cold, but it's not going to be hot. And over 2 weeks, there were 9 sightings of this devil monkey, the Danville devil monkey, by various folks. It supposedly sent the town was like freaking out about it.
Huh.
So there seems to be something.
Did anybody take a picture?
No one takes a picture. Yeah, in this case, when they're just fleeting, I don't blame that. It's those things where there's lots of people there, and or they're looking for it and they don't take pictures. And in this case, I'm not super shocked by that. In January 12, 2006 was the most hilarious incident because that's again an anonymous witness said that he and his family went into their house in the Chicago area, and they there discovered that there was a, quote, devil-like creature violently attacking their 6-year-old Labrador dog. The man described the creature as being, quote, an unusual combination of monkey, wolf, and devil, because he knows what devils look like.
Yes.
Yeah. And it had long fangs, a monkey-like tail, and extremely bright, glowing eyes. Now, I'm going to show you, and our audience can see the picture of a close-up of this creature that he did have the wisdom to take. Good segue, Carrie. So see that picture? See that? Can you see the creature? See those yellow glowing eyes? See those long fangs? Okay. Now that's a close up of the picture. I'm going to show you a little further away in a minute. So he did take the picture. He said he grabbed his nearby camera and snapped a photo, and then suddenly the flashlight freaked it out. The flash bulb, I guess. This is when we was just 2006. Okay. So the flash bulb freaked it out, scared it. He said, quote, "It sprang onto his hind legs and ran," unquote. And it ran by him, almost knocking him over out the front door and into the woods right by their home. Now, I'm going to show you a picture. It's a little bit smaller. I'm going to show you a picture of that same picture. I am shocked he sent a differently cropped picture to anyone of that same incident. You can't see it, readers. Describe that picture, Carrie.
It's 2 dogs.
It's for sure 2 dogs. It's a dark Labrador-like dog with glowing eyes because you have a flash bulb dum-dum with a light-colored, some people in Virginia might say taffy-colored.
Light taffy
Labrador.
Yeah.
Clearly in no duress whatsoever. Not being violently attacked by the same sized, same species of dog next to it, which is undoubtedly its playmate. It's probably its co-dog. So
even if it's a stray dog, it's not.
It was not a stray dog. It's the family dog. My suspicion is this guy's just messing with him.
Oh, okay.
So he sends a picture of his 2 dogs because they took the picture. The dog on the left, the darker colored dog, had super bright glow, really crazy bright eye shine. They said, "Let's mess with people."
Jeez.
And you can see its fangs, and it looks like they're clearly just panting.
Yeah.
So they're probably freshly being played with just earlier that evening. So there are some people, messing with people in this. So are there other people messing with people that just didn't start turning pictures in?
Yeah.
Maybe. Then, of course, you get to what I teased up front or early on is that you have the Native American legends. Every cryptid in North America, eventually some researcher, air quotes, ties it to Native American legends. It's the attempt to make it seem like it has longevity, that it goes back in time, that it's real, that there's a history of it being here. So it's not just something that suddenly came down from space, or sometimes they say it literally came down from outer space. Yeah. So you always find that. In this case, there are some legends apparently about sort of monkey-like creatures in the forest that they have tails, and they're not really monkey-like, but they're really described as men with tails. But they're vicious, and they are cannibalistic. You know where they're from, though? Alaska and the Yukon Territory. Southeast Alaska, the Panhandle, and the nearer portions of the Yukon Territory. Not monkey country. Without any question. And so later researchers have attached these to the legends and called these devil monkeys. There's no questions. No, native legend ever used the word monkey or knew anything about monkeys, obviously. Yeah. So, but anyway, it comes from that, like the Copper River, that area. There's a story from the Otna tribe from the Yukon along the Copper River. That's not too far from southeastern Alaska, about these kind of really mean, they have long tails, but they're described as men, and how they would harass and attack their tribe, their people. Like if you went out too far, people were never seen again. People disappeared. They were just kind of a boogeyman type of creature, right? They're said to walk on their hind legs, though, but they were hairy and had tails. And they didn't wear any clothes. And they also had long, I think they had, claws. But otherwise, kind of a hairy man with a tail. So some people, I have no doubt, in the sources I read, because I was focusing on the devil monkey, I have no doubt that these stories have also been tied to Sasquatch and Bigfoot.
Right.
But they are very, very clearly described as having tails. So it doesn't quite fit that. Yeah. So they are a little uncomfortable for those researchers. But they said otherwise, his face was like a man's, his hands were just like a man's, just tailed and furry. And about the same size, about the same height as a man, too. So supposedly their legend has this warrior. He figures it out, and he wants to go follow them. He hears some group went out to some area, and they weren't seen again. So he goes out the area, and he finds them, and he's looking at them from a tree, and they're playing some kind of a game. They're kicking some kind of ball around, and he realizes, to his horror, that ball is a head of one of his fellow tribespersons who they ate. And so he follows them to where they live, and they live in these caves. And they, it's the typical story of the brave, smart warrior who then devises a plan to kill them all and they do this thing where they smoke them out. They live in 8 caves, and they put smoke near the cave, all while not being noticed by these super predators.
Yeah.
And when they smoke them out, they kill them with bows and arrows and spears and things like that, right?
Uh-huh.
And which is, I'm sure that's a legit legend, but it has nothing to do with any kind of a devil monkey whatsoever. By the way, some later ethnologists tracked to where he had a source that told him where these caves were, and he went to this, and he did find some cave-like pits in a riverbank above kind of a dried out river creek. They were those caves about 1 meter deep. It's about 3 feet deep. So yeah. And about the same wide. So that's just again. There's lots of other stories of kind of sort of monkey-like tailed furry men and other legends from the area. They sound like they all kind of derive from the same original story. I mean, here's the thing about these legends. They were good storytellers.
Yeah.
They told stories. They made shit up. They made things up, and they were entertaining for a purpose, for a reason, often for a boogeyman, whatever, or just entertaining. Yeah. We always think that any kind of a legend has to be literally true, and they thought of it as literally true. I'm sure most of these stories they did not think were true. They were stories. Giving them the credit they deserve. So what are they? What do you think they are? What do we got going on here? What is the devil monkey?
I have no idea.
Well, you can start with the guy who writes the website called werewolves.com. He says, I'm going to quote him because I'm mean. What, pray tell, is a devil monkey? I'm telling you right now, guy, just to help you, don't ever use the word pray tell. It can't not sound pompous and effective. Quote, a paranormal entity or perhaps a cryptid. And what, pray tell, that's twice, bro, is the difference betwixt the twain? Let me read that again. And what, pray tell, is the difference betwixt the twain? Stop.
I'm not even sure what that means.
No, he doesn't know what it means. It doesn't mean anything.
Betwixt means between, right? Yeah. What's the
twain?
The
twain is the two. So what's the difference between the two of them? He's into steampunk. Carrie, I'm attaching things. I don't know anything about this person at all whatsoever. But here's what I know for a fact. He's into steampunk. So this guy describes it as sort of a, is it a cryptid? Is it real? But I guess some people think it's like paranormal, like it's supernatural, some kind of a spectral or phantasmal in nature. This guy, he's a terrible writer. Essentially, he's saying, it could be both. So is it real? Is it fake? There's a possibility it's not fake, but it's supernatural. It's paranormal, right? And he also says, by the way, they have snouts like chimpanzees or baboons. Have you seen a chimpanzee?
Yeah.
Only the most well-known primate on the planet. They don't have snouts, bro. Some people have described it as saying, hey, maybe it's like a langur monkey, a Hanuman langur monkey. It's an old world monkey. How they would get around here, we don't know.
Yeah.
But here's my favorite. You also find this a lot in cryptids. If something described sounds vaguely like a prehistoric animal, there's so much of, okay, that's what it is. So some people have hypothesized is a Protopithecus brasiliensis. It's an extinct 50-pound New World monkey known from Brazil from, millions of years ago.
Yeah.
Because it looks something like it in terms of size and its appearance or whatever. And you see that all the time. And other people have said maybe it's a surviving specimen of Theopithecus oswaldi. That was a 250-pound East Asian baboon believed by most primatologists to have gone extinct during the Pleistocene epoch.
Yeah.
It's in Africa.
No. Yeah.
It's from hundreds of thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
So, but that at least gets us to where the most likely cause is. And that, one other before I forget. Some people have said that it can jump. In fact, one story said that it used its tail to like coil it up and use his tail to leap.
So it's a cartoon character.
Is that Tigger from Winnie the Pooh? Am I wrong? Okay, so stop saying things like that. Nothing has locomotion like that. But some people have compared it to a kangaroo. There is a thing called a mystery kangaroo in the United States, which we'll handle one day. That's another cryptid, where some people have these very kangaroo-like beasts have been spotted in the U.S. Again, all not unlike the devil monkey, all throughout the U.S.
And they have big tails. They have shorter arms. Well,
they have short arms, big tails.
Some have longer arms.
Yes,
so it depends.
And the devil monkey has been described as leaping well, but
also everybody knows what a kangaroo looks like.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But is there another animal that most people you think would know what they look like, or maybe not. It's a baboon. To me, this sounds, you have the
whole dog
the longer
snout
arm,
thing.
the dogs, the snout, if it has teeth and claws. I mean, those are some nasty creatures. Those absolutely could, if it was really killing livestock in Albany, New York, baboons can absolutely kill sheep and cats and dogs that are missing, things like that. Now, it's not going to kill. Well, I mean, they can physically kill people, but that's
where would they come from?
Where would they'd have to be like
Escaped from.
That's the problem.
Something.
One or two or three of these, someone's pet, because there are idiots who keep stupid pets. So this is possible some weirdo out there in one of these cases in Virginia or Kentucky, Louisiana, or even New Hampshire.
In the
1930s.
Oh, 1930s.
So that it would have to be repeatedly a zoo animal or a pet escaping, a baboon escaping, terrorizing the countryside. By the way, being seen if you would think about it, these should be seen much more often.
Yes.
Because it's going to live for many years out in that countryside. It should be seen quite a bit, you would think.
And the same one is not traveling between all those southern states and New Hampshire and Illinois. And
it would have to happen a lot. People would have to lose a baboon repeatedly over in many different places over many, many decades. And it would have to have these fleeting sightings and then go away. Are they recapturing them every time shortly? I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's problematic. The other part is that it is not consistently, but majority of the times it is described as having a bushy tail.
Yeah.
And that's very not baboon-like. If, in fact, any kind of a tail is not baboon-like, because baboons have a very small, hard-to-notice tail. Red butt, but not much of a tail. Not a tail you would go, oh, and it had a long tail. You would never say that. But otherwise, it does seem very baboon-like. I would not be shocked if a couple of these sightings were an escaped baboon, especially, what was the one? The one in New Hampshire actually strikes me as the most likely, because it was seen for 2 weeks after.
Yeah.
And by 9 witnesses. Maybe someone did lose a baboon and they were able to recapture it after a couple of weeks.
Those 9 stories could just be, or 8 stories could be hopping on the bandwagon of the first story.
Classic mass hysteria. I mean, we've talked about mass hysteria on the show many times. People, and I think still people think the word hysteria gets in the way of that, because they think it's people freaking out. It's not that at all. It's a contagion. Yeah. It's sort of when you hear that someone saw this monkey-like creature and it had a bushy tail.
You see something that you can't identify, or it's a blur, or some of them can just be, hey, I want my name in the newspaper.
Yes, for sure. For sure. So you misidentify something. You're not hysterical.
Yeah.
You just made a mistake. Yeah. Or you're a bandwagon, or you're looking for attention, or you just made an honest mistake.
Yeah.
So that's why I wish there was a different word. And there is actually a different word. I can't remember what it is now. We talked about it with the Mattoon gasser, the mad gasser of Mattoon. There's a different word for it now, but that's a little dishonest. It's not hysteria. It is kind of that's jumping on a misidentification that starts from an initial story, and people just glom onto it. Mm-hmm. All these things tend to happen in spates like that. Then again, a researcher who thinks these things are real would say, well, no shit, because it was seen multiple times, because like the one in New Hampshire, it was seen by multiple people because it was in the area and being seen by multiple people. You'd expect there to be a spate of sightings when there is a real thing at their core as well. So that's not an unfair criticism by those folks.
Yeah.
But in this case, I don't know. We'll see. There is my favorite website quote from the research for the Devil Monkey was this. I'm not going to say what website it was, but it was just unintentionally hilarious. So this website says that he describes the devil monkey, talks about the devil monkey. He does it in probably the most hysterical way. In other words, the most ludicrous way. And he says, fun fact, the devil monkeys were the inspiration for the flying monkeys in The Wizard of Oz. End quote. Just a bald statement of a fact.
Yeah.
Apparently, mistaking a fun fact for a fun lie. Because there's no truth to that. You made it up, bro. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
So that's the devil monkey of mostly the American South. What do you think? Anything at the root? Anything at the cause of this?
No, I don't believe any of.
You think all of them are just mistakes? They saw dogs or? Interesting.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of them were baboons.
Because
langur monkeys, by the way, langur monkeys are baboon-like. So maybe something along those lines.
I mean, who compiled all these sightings?
Various people.
Yeah.
Over the years.
So, I mean, I don't know. I could probably comb a lot of small town newspapers for the last 50 years and pick out
Yeah.
sightings of dinosaurs or sightings of pterodactyls or
You
sightings
for sure could.
of things that look like whatever weird
Yeah.
creature I just happened to see as
One day we will have to do the mysterious kangaroos of America, because there's actually a couple of pictures out there that do look, unless they're fake,
Yeah.
look pretty kangaroo like. And
Yeah.
again, that would not shock me.
No, it's possible somebody got a kangaroo and
Let it go. It escaped.
because it got too big and
Yeah.
wanted to box him all the time.
Yeah. I mean, we
Kicked
have,
his ass a few times.
and weirdly, it wouldn't shock me if one or two of the devil monkeys were, in fact, kangaroos.
Yeah.
Loose kangaroos. So you have these two kind
But
of
then
stories.
somebody would eventually catch it. Somebody else would see it. Somebody would
know.
find it dead.
That's always the problem with that. Well, I mean,
yeah.
it's possible. It's possible it died and no one found it dead. That's not impossible.
Yeah.
It's the same with the baboon. It just didn't. It couldn't feed itself. You think though, if it got hungry enough, it would.
Yeah. Well,
be seen because it'd go to the middle of town
Yeah.
or some village or something.
and
Or
that's
town.
possibly the case for all of these
Yeah.
weird creatures that somebody saw. It did die somewhere
Mhm.
and nobody found it, or it did get recaptured, or it did, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that doesn't get reported because whoever did it didn't think to report it.
That's very true. That's true. But you think it would be. Why not report that? If you found a baboon body, I feel like that would be reported. So if there are one or two cases that are truthful at
Yeah.
the root of this, I think the baboon in Virginia, the baboon in New Hampshire, it went somewhere and died
Yeah.
and was scavenged, and no one saw that body.
Yeah.
That's all. So I think you think there's nothing to it. I think there probably is a little bit to some of them, not to the guy's Labrador with the eyes shine in his living
No.
room. Not so much that one, but
But I mean, some of the reports are just ridiculous.
yeah. And the biggest problem again is the tail. That really
Yeah.
throws me because most of them have a tail. Most of those times the
Yeah.
tail is bushy, and that doesn't make any sense.
Although, you know what that also tells me? It could be some creature. They could all be the same type of creature. We are the most unreliable witnesses
Yeah.
on the planet.
Well, I
So
think
our memories are bad.
You know who's worse? 60-year-old chimpanzees. Those are much
No,
much
they're
worse.
much better.
Oh, okay. Carrie's got this thing for old chimps. I don't know what's going on here. Should I worry? So, yeah, no, I agree. We are human eyewitness accounts are
Terrible.
at the bottom of the rung for like in crimes. We always think that eyewitness accounts are the gold standard. They really are kind of the reverse. That's the devil monkey. Hope you enjoyed that tale from the world of American folklore. I hope there's
Yeah.
a thriving colony of baboons. One day we will also do monkey colonies. There are absolutely rhesus monkeys, and in Florida there are surviving breeding populations of
course,
lab monkeys in Florida.
Yeah.
And there possibly is a breeding population of macaques in Louisiana. So American monkeys, one of these days, we'll have to cover, but we have an explanation for why they are where they are.
Yeah.
The devil monkey, not so much. We don't have an explanation for that.
No.
And by the way, here's my last word on this. This might be a story where the name preceded the thing. I think so. It's possible someone thought of the word devil monkey in America and decided to make that happen.
Yeah.
But you know what? Go for it, bro.
Yeah, sure.
Devil monkey is a very cool name. So we hope you enjoyed the story of the devil monkey.
Well, thanks, Dean.
We'll see you next time.